Mexico City has tons of great transit options, from the famous metro to the scenic cable cars to lesser known modes like the light rail and the suburban trains. But there's one mode that you might never ride if you're just visiting. A mode that's not on the map, but almost 2/3 of all transit trips use them. I'm talking about the microbuses, locally known as Paceros. Massively relied upon, but faced with accusations of not following regulations and reckless driving, many tour guides warn their listeners not to ride them. Others say it's the best way to take a deep dive into the local culture here in the Mexican capital. So, which is it? I rode one to find out. Before we step aboard a Pesero, let's talk about bus service in Mexico City. The most famous bus system is the microbus, frequent red buses that drive in dedicated lanes. You're the most likely to ride these as a tourist, and they have their own video right here on the channel. Then there's the trolleybus network. These buses are blue, modern, and of course electric. Some run in their own lanes, others run on their own dedicated viaducts with full-blown stations. But the largest of the three official network is the RTP. With over 100 routes, these bright green buses connect the many neighborhoods that are not served by the metro. Fare is determined based on the type of bus and the route. But like Metrobus and the trolleybus, you can pay using your integrated mobility card. Not on the Pesero. These little green microbuses are cash only, and if you've ever visited the city, you will have noticed that they are everywhere. For many Mexicans living here, the Pesero is the main way to get around. Some estimates say that as much as 60% of all trips on transit are made on Paceros. Paceros are a form of privately owned public transportation. They seat around 20 people and they have brightly colored signs on the windshield to tell people where they're going. While they are super common, the government is actively in the process of phasing them out. So I knew that if I wanted a chance to ride a Pesero, it would have to be now. Well, it would have to be after lunch. My pambazo comes first. Alright, so now we're going to do what some tourist guides have told me definitely not to do. Other guides have said definitely do it. We're going to take one of the microbuses, also known as a Pesero. We're headed to Indios Verdes station, and I noticed that on this street corner, a lot of the vans going there have Indios Verdes on the sign. So we're going to look for one, and we're going to get on and hope for the best. So there's a bunch down the street. We'll see if they actually stop where we need to go. So the Paceros run on a fixed route, so if you know the streets that they run on, you can find them, but they do not have fixed stops, so you do have to flag one down, which is what I am doing right now, an action that many tour guides advise against, and I'll explain why in a little bit, but first we need to pay. A fare is between 6 or 7 pesos. Luckily, there were still seats available. Notice that neither the front nor the back door ever closes. These buses are truly hop on, hop off. You can get on anywhere the driver deems it safe to do so, and to get off, you just have to yell at him and he'll let you off. That's not the main reason why people consider the Paceros dangerous, though. Part of it has to do with a lack of regulations. The government has some fuel standards and such, but they could be stricter. But the real danger has to do with their private nature. See, the Paceros are owned by companies. Companies want to make money. They are driven by drivers, and drivers also want to make money. So the companies set quotas. Up until a certain amount of the daily fares goes to the company, and anything above that, the driver gets to keep. So drivers are in a fierce competition to pick up passengers. You often hear stories of speeding, reckless driving, even street races. There have even been reports of underage drivers, so you can understand why some guides recommend sticking to the metro. Other guides, though, say to absolutely go for a spin on the Paceros. It is the best way to immerse yourself in local life. And I have to say, I'm inclined to agree. Out the window, we saw streets and markets that I never would have seen from the metro. Our driver had a big crucifix in the windshield, and every few minutes a merchant would climb on, they'd sell candy or perform music, and at the next intersection, they'd hop off and wait for the next one. My advice is pretty much the same as anywhere. Be careful, be respectful.
always know where your stuff is and don't get in people's way, and just generally use your best judgment. Now, what about the name Pesero? Well, back in the day, they cost just 1 peso to ride, hence Pesero. They also weren't buses back then, they were taxis. While for many decades, traffic kept growing and Mexico City's bus system was struggling, caught in all sorts of scandals, private owners started running group taxis, or colectivos, running on fixed routes and picking up any passenger for just a peso. Those were replaced by Volkswagen vans known locally as combis, which could seat more people. In 1987, the minibuses entered the scene, and while there are still some combis left, these minibuses are the most popular. And while they no longer cost a peso, the name Pesero always stuck.
Okay, so there's the Pesero that we were just on. There are like a million over here. That was a really cool experience. It was super bumpy, but I didn't notice any of the danger that people were talking about. And it was such a great way to see the city and to commute as the people in this city commute.
This ride took us from the Zocalo to Indios Verdes station in the north of the city, where you can transfer to the metro and to the cable cars, which is what we did. But there's one more thing we need to discuss. Remember, I said that the government is trying to get rid of Paceros to crack down on pollution and reckless driving. They are gradually replacing the microbuses on each corridor with these bigger purple buses known as Ruta. These have card readers for the integrated mobility card, they have uniformed drivers, and a number of other improvements. The ideal was to have the transition be complete by this year, but I think we all know that that won't happen. Nevertheless, the green Paceros may one day soon be history. A piece of history that has transported millions of people. And for one day, I was one of them. Thank you so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome. We'll see you next time.